This piece is so far removed from what is produced these days. I often wonder if older pieces of furniture like this chest of drawers is still relevant to the younger generation. I know it holds a lot of nostalgia for the older crowd, bringing back memories of childhood and grandparents and such. I really never noticed this type of furniture before I started refinishing furniture. And then I stumbled upon a piece and I refinished it, and I grew to really love the simplicity of style and, of course, the gorgeous wood veneers that they used back then. I'd like to think someone will buy this who wants to incorporate it into an eclectic sort of living aesthetic. There are so many possibilities with vintage furniture and modern decor. But enough babble, let's get started with the restoration and see what we can do.
Here's a good look at the top of it. It's laying down on its back right now, so you can get a good look up at the grain, which is really beautiful, and the finish that is obviously failing. I think I've taken out all the drawers, and what I decided I'm going to start on, just because I'm lazy this morning, I'm going to just start scraping all the little parts, because it looks like it'll come off fairly easy, and I can sit down to do it. That's the reason I'm starting on the small parts. My back hurts today. I overdid it on the weekend. Ooh, that's coming off nice and easy. I knew that the finish would be crunchy. When you get what I call a crunchy finish, it just sort of comes off really easy with a scraper. But I will put the mask on because I don't have my mask on right now, and it gets airborne, all those little particles, and not very good to inhale. Now the bottom right here, I had the scraper wouldn't go in here and scrape off this, so I'm going to use some 120 sandpaper and see if that'll scrape it off. I think it will because it's fairly thin. The finish is not very thick, so I think it should work.
I'm going to remove all the metal feet on the underside so I'll be able to sand it a little easier. I'd like to take this time to thank all my loyal subscribers who always watch my videos and have such nice things to say. If you haven't yet but would like to support my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Likes and comments also help support the channel. And there's a new hype button as well, which helps creators get discovered the more hypes they get. So sounds good to me. I'm also closing in on 10,000 subscribers, so that's a huge milestone for my channel. Thanks to each and every one of you. Your time watching is really appreciated.
Whoops.
Often when I scrape the edge of veneer on a piece, I hold my scraper at a slight angle to the edge. That just helps prevent tear out along the edge, which is always a possibility if you keep the scraper kind of perpendicular to the edge. I just find it's a little safer this way. I'm using 150 grit sandpaper on the side. I don't really need to be more aggressive with the side right now because there's hardly anything left on it after I've scraped it. And I might not even have to go beyond 150 if it smooths everything else out really nice. If it doesn't, I might go up to 180.
Okay, this is after I've sanded the first side to 150 grit. There's a little divot in the wood there. I'll use the iron to steam that out, see if that helps. And I notice there's all little nail holes that have been filled with wood filler, so I'm going to have to color those so that they match. And there's some wood filler here as well, so I'll have to color match that. But the grain looks really nice. The veneer is in super shape, so I'm happy about that. All in all, this is a good side, so I have to do some more sanding in there.
I didn't have enough leverage on my old short little stool, so I got a ladder and was able to put more pressure on the scraper, and it worked better at removing the finish, because at first I thought, oh my god, it's not coming off, and I thought I might have to resort to chemical stripper, but after I got it started, it was okay. I'm going to fill this little dent with some wood filler, a light color wood filler, so I can color match it later.
I've laid the dresser on its side because I'm going to use it as a tabletop to refinish the drawers. Now I have to take off all these, there's little caps that cover the bolt and the nut that the handle has a bolt and a nut, and these little caps are what cover it. So I'm going to take them all off, remove the handles, and hopefully, I think this is, all the markings in here I think are just sticky residue of something, so I think it should clean up fairly well. I'm hoping not to have to sand the whole inside because that will be a lot of work. The only thing I think I have to do is scrape off the finish and sand the fronts, the top, and the sides, and that should do it. It's always fun deciding what tool to use to remove things. I need something that's going to get under here. This is a staple remover for upholstery, but it's great because it has a sharp, pointy little end. Yep, that'll do it. Of course, all the pliers I have are not the right kind. I'll probably have to run downstairs and get one. Oh. Oh, nope, this should work. Just got to start them. The handles are a little strange on here because they've been attached vertically. At first, when I saw them, I thought, oh, they've for sure got to be not the original handles, that somebody's put the handles that way, and that the original handles must have been facing the other way, like more horizontal. But I don't think that's the case, because there's only one set of holes in the veneer. Except for this top drawer, which is a little strange because they've been patched. I'll show you in a minute. Take the last bolt off, or nut, I should say. This one's okay. Why is it always the last one that's the troublesome one? Strange. This one's kind of stuck. Oh. Okay, let's see. Maybe a tap with the hammer will do it. One side comes out and the other side goes in. Ugh, come on. It is not budging. Okay, let's see if I can get something else to take it out. Maybe a nail punch might do it. Yep, that did it. Underneath here it's got a number and then it's got the word London. They're quite nice handle. And it's looking to me like they're brass. So I'm going to clean those up, and I think they'll look really good. Okay, but this is the strange part. This is where it was attached, and right in the middle there's a patch mark. So that is strange because none of the other drawers have patch marks on them. And they're all using the same handles that are like with the holes like this. So that leads me to believe that those were the handles that were always on the piece. So why is there a hole there? The only thing I could think of is maybe originally out of the factory they made that mistake. Maybe. It's the only thing I could think of. If anybody has any other ideas, I'd gladly like to hear them. Just if you got any ideas, put in the comments. That's what makes doing this kind of job interesting, finding all those little mysteries that you'll never know the answer to. This is after a day and a half of work. I've got it all sanded and scraped, except for the last 3 drawers, which I will do tomorrow morning. I've just sprayed some Goo Gone on the bottom of the drawer because there's all sticky residue. I'm thinking they must have at one point had a drawer liner or something in here, because a lot of the drawers have that sticky residue on it. I have a little scrubby. It's actually coming off better with the cloth. I don't know if the Goo Gone didn't work because I got it wet first, but it seems to be working better just with just some elbow grease. I'll try some crud cutter. Get some of the stuff out of the corner.
For the finish, I used Osmo's Pollux oil, which is a hard wax oil. I rolled it on this time, which is different for me because I usually just use a cloth. It went on quite well. I did use a cloth after the application just to take some of the excess off. I let it dry completely and then I would sand it just lightly before I put the next coat on. I put 2 coats on the whole dresser and I added a 3rd coat just on the top for extra durability. And I did the door fronts as well, the same. Around the bottom of the chest of drawers, I ended up spray lacquering that, and you'll see that coming up in a minute. I've decided to stain the base of the cabinet because it's a very light wood and it's going to stand out and not look very good with the rest of the wood, which is very dark. So I'm putting on an antique walnut by General Finishes. And if that is not dark enough, which I suspect it won't be, I'll add a bit of toner after it dries. Now the fun part, trying to color match. Not too dark. I think I'll start with light oak, even though this is not oak. Bitter. I'm not loving that color. And I'm not loving the way it looks. Let's try some Blendalls. It's a bit better. Zoom out, you can barely see it. And once the finish is put on the top, you will not see it. Good. Time to clean the hardware. It was really dirty. So what I decided to do is I decided to throw it all into some boiling water that I added half and half vinegar to water ratio, and I probably boiled it for 15 minutes. It did get a lot of the dirt and grime out. You can see all it rising to the top there along the sides. And then what I did is I used Barkeeper's Friend and made sort of a paste out of it and gave it all in, the back and the front of the pieces a real good scrub with a toothbrush. And that actually got it quite clean. The only problem with it is that some looked coppery and some looked brass-like. So I continued the cleaning process with my little Dremel brass brushes that I have, and that seemed to help. As I mentioned before, the base of the cabinet is not dark enough for me with just the stain on it, so I'm using a toner in the color Perfect Brown to darken it up a bit. After I've applied the toner a couple times, then I'm just going to put a clear satin lacquer on the top to finish it off. I wasn't sure I liked the vertical placement of the handles at first. I'm just so used to having them horizontal that it was just weird. But after spending time refinishing the piece, I think I kind of like them this way. After I cleaned and buffed the handles, they were a bit brighter than I expected. I think I may tone them down a bit before I sell the piece. Let me know what you think in the comments. But all in all, I think this one is a pretty spiffy looking chest of drawers, and it should have another 50, 60 years more left in it. Enjoy the reveal, and I'll catch you next time.